What? I'm not actually playing LotRO? No, we're talking about LotRO today. Welcome in. First of all, let me drop you a link in chat while we listen to the goats at the Bjorninghus. Sam Burke with the resub. Welcome in, Sam. So, here's the news that we're talking about. There is a French version, there's a German version. Switch the thing on your LotRO.com at the bottom if you're in the wrong version. Anyhow, let us talk about the news. So, LotRO dropping. Honestly, I think I might want to move my character in game. Hold on. Because listening to the ghost go bleh all the time is not for good gameplay. Let's actually go into the Bjorninghus. We'll hang out with Gandalf. You can't see it, but I had a character at the Bjorninghus. We're gonna go just chill with Gandalf. Listen to the nice fire. And whatever. Okay. Listen to the amazing music by Mr. Bill Champagne. Okay, let me get back to XSplit. Where's my thing? Here it is. Alright, so I need to be able to read this. So this just dropped today, like a bombshell out of the blue. We kind of knew they were working on the producer letter. I was kind of expecting they might have done something. Maybe not really. I wasn't expecting what we learned about this. So let's go read it together, and then we'll talk about what we know specifically from this, and what both Orion and Cordovan have responded to on the forums, because holy shit, some of this a little bombshell. So, what do we got? One thing I would like to definitely appreciate about this producer letter, it doesn't spend 3/4 of its time telling us what you did this year. Because honestly, we've been there, we've done that. We want to know what's going on in the future. Sorry. And one thing I also want to point out is Orion has said this on his streams. And on the forums, that their plan is to go back to doing more dynamic producer letters. Going to okay, we're going to do this thing for the year, but we're kind of holding off focusing on the stuff at the end of the year because, in my words, again, this is my words, one of my favorite NPCs from the Gundabad expansion, Glurkub the Goblin, tells us that plans change. So, with that in mind, let's get into it. So yeah, basically, Orion says, here's what we did this year. Yay, go us! 17th anniversary, Corsairs of Umbar Instance Cluster, Mock the Corbeau Raid, Catacombs of Umbar, new hobby, 4th profession slot, the Dragon Instance, updated look in the Elves, latest expansion, Legacy of Morgoth. And in addition, we released the first 64-bit servers with the legendary worlds of Mordor and Angmar, using the Veil of the Nine. So they did some shit this year. Some good stuff. Really keeping the game going. Very happy. So they're going to take a moment, have a little bit of a chill. And so what's going on in the next year? So, and this is the part that's causing the big furor. And we're going to talk about this the most. He said, in the early part of the first quarter of 2025, they plan to open new 64-bit servers in Europe, keep a hold on that, and the US. The new servers will be open to all, big important detail, and will not require VIP status to access. They'll have more information about servers and transfer to these two new worlds in early 2025. The long effort, blah, blah, blah. Okay. He says we can expect Severlin to sit with Cordovan sometime in the start of the new year to discuss. So basically, it's going to be the Jerry and Rob show. They're going to do a stream early on. It better be the first week you're back from break, guys. Just because you can't let us sit and spin for 3 weeks for this. No, you can't. And he says he hopes the news is welcomed, etc., etc. And opening transfers will forward. And then he's talking about the roadmap. And this is where he's basically like, hey, we're gonna do this kind of like, here's our plan for the year, but every quarter we're gonna update this. We're gonna refresh this every quarter, and so we should probably expect another one of these in 3 months. 3 or 4 months. And so it's kind of good because I think they were trying to do something with that during Reninia's tenure with the team for that year. And I think having a roadmap that is more flexible and not locking them in December for promises they offer, not even promises, but plans they had in January did not survive till December. It's the old rule of battle, your plan of battle never survives meeting the enemy. I think that was a Sun Tzu thing. And I could be wrong. So basically what they're doing is, okay, we'll show you what we have firm plans for the next 6 months. Beyond that, things are murky as the fog of war. And I can appreciate that. So what we have here is Q1 raid. We already know they're working on it. It's a raid. Quality of life update. This is one thing that I'm really excited about in general terms, because quality of life makes the game more fun to play. And quality of life affects many players differently depending on what's in the update. So here's hoping. He notes D-log? Question mark? D-log? I want to know more about that. Bug fixes, always a good thing. I'm not even sure what's on a development update, but it's good to know the bug fixes are in the works. Yeah. Update to birding. Okay. I'll be honest, don't tell Orion, but I have not been playing birding. I mean, it's there. It's cool. Part of the problem with playing LotRO, at least for me, is I play other games, including the other game, DDO, and we have a question from social media about that we'll address. Why does it exist, though? Hi, Joseph. How are you doing? LotRO Lore is the managing editor of MMORPG.com. How you doing, sir? I hope you're doing well. Why does birding exist? I don't know. I really don't know. It seemed to me to come out of the left field for me. I don't know. Okay, Q2, 18th anniversary. Okay. A content pack uniting Shagana, which I love the new Legacy of Morgoth stuff. I love the fact that it's saying, okay, guys, folks, you call these places Neotrod, that's not what we call them. We live here, our names prevail. I love that. I fucking love that. A new instance, holy crap, a new raid in the second quarter. We just had one raid. What about second raid? I'm on vacation right now, so that's why I can actually stream during the middle of the day. Well, technically, if I were at work this week, I would just be getting off work, but, you know. Anyhow, so we've had first raid. What about second raid? Come on. In less than 6 months' time, that's amazing. And so you notice the two quarters, you know, third quarter, fourth quarter, are very small print. Okay, the two big summer update, free update, system enhancements, and more. And the expansion pack, we know they're going to come up with an expansion, and they've confirmed a level cap increase in the fall or the winter of next year. We kind of already knew that. New landscape, so we can speculate about where they might be going. Hirondor? Maybe they go north, maybe they go east. We don't know. But I want to talk about a couple things also on here is, not only did they have the graphic, you might think this may be silly, because it's a video game, people have to look at a video game. He also alt-texted it. Because some people maybe reading this on mobile, and maybe the images aren't, you know, unlimited data or whatever, but it's also an accessibility thing, so it's very nice of them. So somebody who normally has to use a screen reader to find out all the goodness will know what's going on here. And so the first quarter 2025 includes a 6-boss raid in 3 wings to challenge players at level 150, a refresh of the deed panel, so this is what they were talking about, the deed log. A refresh of the deed panel, modernizing the interface, and data management. Okay, that sounds interesting. I want to see that on Bullroar. Myriad bug fixes and more class adjustments, and new areas to go birding. So it sounds like they're doing birding in like Rovanian or something. Additional alterations for legendary. Okay, here's something interesting. Additional alterations necessary for the legendary servers and Angmar, but they don't mention Mordor. I wonder about that. Her plan is to release the update before the end of February. So this is the update that's going to update some stuff, the quality of life update. By the time February arrives, we should be positioned to extend the details of the roadmap into quarter 3, provide great detail on the quarter 2 release. So basically, he thanks us all. So, as always, he remains Orion, my favorite constellation. And that's not sucking up to the dev. I've been a fan of the constellation since I was a tiny kid. So, so we get big details here, and then fewer details for that. And I think that's actually a good move, in that they can leave this vague because this stuff comes first, and if they pin the stuff down later in the year too soon, then too soon executus, as another game would say, then they wind up in situations where things go off the rails or they don't achieve their goals. But at least they're committing to the big ticket here. Expansion in the winter, summer update, or expansion in the fall. Whatever. Because quarter 3 is actually what? Okay. January, February, March. That's quarter 1. March, April, April, May, June is quarter 2. July, August, September. Well, I guess that would still be a summer update, would be quarter 3. And then October, November, December. Okay. So let's go into the big thing, the big bombshell, the one that has lit up the forums. And I have to tell you, kids, it's actually a good thing that Standing Stone has not launched their LotRO Discord, because holy shit, that thing would be on fire right now. It'd be a war zone. It's bad enough it's on the forums, but you can kind of expect certain voices would rise to the top in that discussion. So let's stick to the facts. What do we specifically know about the 64-bit server shenanigans going on here? Number 1, we know multiple servers. Okay? So they said new 64-bit servers in Europe, so we know that at least one of them is going to be in Europe, and at least one in the United States. So there's going to be at least 2. We don't know how many. They will be free to play, so anybody can join in. And the dev team did jump on the forums for a couple of little itty-bitty details. And when they say early quarter 1, I'm thinking January, because gosh darn it. If you say early quarter 1, we're talking January, February, first week of February at the latest, right? Okay, so on the forums, there are 2 threads going on. One started by players and one started by the dev team. And the dev team have been responding on the staff tracker. So... oh, Orion just added something new. So first thing, Orion did mention the downscaling system is on the back burner for right now. The content pack that is mentioned for quarter 2 is going to be a direct tie into the Uniting Shagana story beat. So these are kind of tied together. He did confirm the new 64-bit servers are not legendary. And he keeps trying to tell people, you gotta wait until we do the live stream with Corden Severlin. But, so people have questions. One really fascinating point that came out, Cordovan replied to the latest letter to the players, and he said specifically, I'm going to quote him directly on this, because I thought this was really fascinating. And I say, and I quote, "At least initially, the transfers to these new 64-bit worlds will not be from our 32-bit worlds, and will instead focus on our closed legacy servers. We will have more details, blah, 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 in January." So, all of those old servers, the 19 servers they closed in 2016 as part of the 2015 server consolidation, people have not been able to get their characters off of them. Now, here's the thing is, people are like, well, that came out of the blue. And I'm like, actually, it didn't. Because during one of their recent longer than usual maintenances, people are bitching about it on the forums, as they do. Cordovan said to somebody, I distinctly remember this, he told them that one of the things they were doing with this longer than usual maintenance was to do a little back-end work to help advance the issue of retrieving those old characters. It wasn't going to solve the problem, it wasn't going to make them available, but it was some work that was going to be done to help that along. So this is not completely out of the blue, but it was one of those blink and you miss it. If you weren't paying attention to the staff tracker and weren't, all up in Cordovan's business to keep track on, because, hey, this is what happens when you use the game process. You pay attention to shit. So initially, they'll be able to transfer from, bring in their old characters. I want to know, how will I get my shared storage? I guess that would be the same transfer, I don't know. But it's like, I don't even know what's in my shared storage on all those worlds. I don't know if I have anything. I think I took it all with me. I don't know. Anyhow, we don't know about that. I thought that was very fascinating. That's the big ticket thing. And let's see. And yeah, Orion just answered a couple of minutes ago. Okay, he says, and I'm going to quote him as well. When the 64-bit servers come online, we will allow free and optional transfers off of existing 32-bit worlds for all players. More information about the timing, name reservation, etc. will be handled in a QA sit-down with Cordovan. Oh, I misspelled his name. Orion, come on. And Suburlan in early parts of the new year. In the weeks following the opening of the 64-bit worlds, we will also open Dark World transfers to the 64-bit servers to allow characters on the... So basically, Orion contradicted Cordovan. Cord said initially it'd be about those legacy worlds, but Orion's saying it's the other way around. Free and optional transfers. Okay, for all players. What we don't know is, are they shuttering the old, like the current worlds, like Landreval, Arkenstone, Evernight, or whatever? Or are they going to be forcing people to go to the new worlds? Are they going to be saying, Landreval, you go to X new world. Arkenstone, you go to Y new world. Are they going to do something like, we don't know yet. And those would be very good questions. And I know a lot of the freak out right now is, oh my god, what about my community? One of the things that LotRO has had in its transfer system, which is actually surprising me they don't have this in DDO. And we'll talk about DDO in a minute. Even though it has nothing to do with DDO, people are asking questions because, will this go to DDO? Okay. But first of all, one thing LotRO does have is the ability of a kin leader to transfer to another server and take their kin status with them. Their kin name, unless it's already taken, they need to get the -1. And anybody from your kinship on the server you're leaving who transfers to the same new server, they automatically get filed right back into your kinship. That's the way it's been in LotRO. I've used that to keep my kinship intact from when I moved from Crick Hollow to... when I moved from Silverlode to Crick Hollow, and from Crick Hollow to Landreval, that shit kept going. So that's fascinating. So I think they're doing a lot of damage control right now because people are freaking out, and it's understandable. I mean, this is a big piece of news, and there were very few details in all of this. Yeah, Zalron, I was just reading that. He just posted like 2 minutes ago. Well, less than 10. So, at least one of them exclaimed, my names! Well, everybody, they would have understood that people are going to go, my names! Because I would say that too, because hello, I have certain names on there's one name I have on every single world. And if somebody steals my name on these new 64, I will be very pissed at them. I'll go after them. No, I won't. So yeah, it's in direct conflict. Well, they do kind of, because Cord said initially they would focus on the legacy worlds, and now Orion's saying, nah, maybe not. So I think they really need to nail that down. And what I'm really hoping is, okay, let's take a look at our calendar. We have the full week of Christmas. I'm honestly expecting this Q&A to happen on the 3rd of January. I'm going to call that now. You can all laugh at me when I'm wrong, because they should be coming back from the holiday. I don't think they'll become... Well, I don't know. Because we know they're working this week. They're probably not working at all next week. I would imagine they wouldn't. But then again, I've been surprised by them before. But it's very possible they may just do a Court of the Rings on the 3rd. Because I can't see them holding up till the 10th, honestly. Yeah. I mean, honestly, Joseph, I completely agree with you. It's like, there's definitely some discussion to be had here. In that, I think they probably should have had a few more details available to us, because now we're going to sit and spin on this for at least 2 weeks. At least 2 weeks, because they're not... I don't expect Cordovan to do a show on the 27th, and they've already said that the new stream will be in the new year. So, the 3rd would be the earliest. I don't see them waiting until the 10th. Damn, holidays being in the middle of the week. Let's make my character non-idle out. But going back to the letter itself, let's go back to that. What else do we have here? I mean, the 18th anniversary. That's obviously a big deal. I mean, our game is going to be old enough to vote. Bug fixes, update to birding. It does feel a little bit light, right? But except, 2 raids in 2 quarters, that's a bit lot. That is a lot, actually. I was a little bit surprised about that. A single new instance and a new raid. I was honestly a little bit surprised about that. Because raids, from my understanding, take a heckin' lot of work to make them happen. But now that they're saying that there's going to be something about name reservation, that makes me happy. But it really depends on how they handle it. Okay, and then Orion added to his outline, where more conservative information provided to ensure more relevant and imminent details on development are shared. As major updates will share broader details. So that was basically in reference to somebody asking about the kinship system that kind of was on the radar and then kind of fell off the radar. And he did say the next update we can see to the UI is going to be the revision to the deed log plan for the first... I'm so happy to hear about a plan to update the deed log, because I'll be honest, that thing is a nightmare to read. The yellow text on parchment is just so freaking difficult to read. So as long as they don't do that, as long as they don't keep that yellow text on parchment look, it's going to be a win in my book. It's just going to be a win. I'm going to call it victory. It doesn't matter what else they do with it. Because I'm old. I have trouble reading these things. But I'm happy to shift back to the server speculation. I'm happy that they are going to be adding more servers. And it tells me that the Mordor thing, that experiment has been a success. But I do wonder about the specific mention they had made about the Legendary Worlds and Angmar. Angmar has been the one that's always been a bit questionable, because Mordor was the one that Severland specifically said, yes, as long as it's financially viable for us to keep this server open, we're going to keep it open despite the usual plans for Legendary Worlds. That kind of tells me maybe they're going to make Mordor a non-Legendary World. Maybe untie it from the Legendary World system and make it so that it's a regular game world. Maybe Mordor will be the first regular... They'll maybe turn off the Veil of the Nine. Or maybe they'll make Veil of the Nine available optionally for... I don't see them putting Veil of the Nine on all of the servers, though. Because I know some people who really, really hate the randomly spawning wraiths. And they just want to get through their game, get their levels, get their shit done. They don't like the hardened difficulty, the hardened traveler stuff. They just want to play the vanilla game. They don't want surprises coming out of the woodwork at them. I understand that as well. I personally don't mind. It adds a little spice to my game. I'm currently dealing with that on the other side. DDO has a similar thing where once per quest you can get a Miss Stalker come out, and if you get the wrong one, it'll kick your ass. So let's talk a little bit about servers and DDO, because somebody did ask me a question on Blue Sky. Scruffy looking nerf herder wanted to know, will this all slide over to DDO at some point down the road? I would imagine it would in some fashion. Because one of the things LotRO and DDO have is a shared commonality. That is, sometimes you can see tech from one game wander to the other game. You can see how LotRO did 64-bit servers first, and now DDO has a 64-bit server. How LotRO did a 64-bit server, theirs had this special event, and so does DDO's. And some things work across the common goal, work across the two games. In terms of overall server plans, I can see them using some of the same basic plans. Right now, DDO, we know for sure that DDO's 64-bit server is in the Las Vegas data center. We don't, as far as we know, the LotRO's servers, other than Mordor, are all in New Jersey. I can tell you that other than lag issues that have been plaguing DDO even before they did a 64-bit server, their 64-bit server has been performing very well. It's getting better and better. Severlin was like super excited today. He kept saying the word excited on social media, in their Discord, about their lag fixes for today for DDO. So it's always nice to see the exec happy about something. And I can see them using this LotRO as the guinea pig and seeing how they're going to handle the DDO transition. Because DDO, their plan is a little bit different. Is they're probably going to launch 2 or 3 new 64-bit worlds, and then everybody will be transferred into those servers. It'll be a little bit of a server consolidation. One thing Tolero, the producer of DDO, had said during either in their Discord or on when she was being interviewed by, I think, Nomad Dog or somebody. Apologies if I get that wrong with the sources. But she had said that one of the things they couldn't do with DDO was they could not keep the same server names. Like, if they made a 64-bit server and they wanted to copy all of Orion onto it, the people who have Orion as their server name would not be able to transfer to Orion as a 64-bit world. They would have to transfer to a new world with a whole new name. And I'm expecting that same practice to be on the LotRO side. So I don't expect them to be able to say Crick Hollow and then a Crick Hollow here who's 64-bit. The server names will have to be different. And I understand, like Ponton, who is a firm, Ponton lives on Crick Hollow. Crick Hollow is where Ponton is. That is Ponton's home. And I hate to pick on you, Ponton, but I'm going to pick on you. Server identity is very important in both games. But DDO has already been through this process before. And we've kind of been through this process on the LotRO side as well. With the 2015, for those who remember. I still cherish the silver load titles I have on certain of my characters who were around in 2015, who I still have around. And went through that. And it's like, you can pick a title. Okay, of silver load. Because that's where my first character that I still have, who now lives on Langerball, her third server, with the same name. So I don't expect the new servers to match the names of the old servers or any of the old legacy servers. Those names, it's like a spell you can only use once. It's done. It's over. You can't use it again. But it's Middle Earth. There's a million names they could come up with. Oh my god, imagine if they named a server after Feanor. Oh, that would be like for the sweatiest people. Let's get all the sweatiest people from Arkenstone and Evernight and Mordor and get them on Feanor and watch this. Oh, no, that server would have such a short shelf life. But you can see that some of the things behind the scenes are going to be the same, but some of the things are not. Why human females seem so ugly in the game and elves look amazing? Barbudo, I have no idea what you're talking about. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. If you don't like them, don't use them. Greetings from Spain! I do not speak Spanish. I remember talking to you on the official LotRO channel the other day. Hello. What means system enhancements? Basically, making things work better behind the scenes. You have to go through a beta crick since the free-to-play launch. See, that's the thing, Zalron. I was on Crick Hollow on the day it opened. I was also on Imladris and Rittermark and Dwaro Delph. And I think I still have a character sitting on Rittermark somewhere. On one of those 3 servers, I still have a character sitting. I don't know how many characters I left behind, but I know there's a lot of people who are super... I'm not going to punt Ponton. I love Ponton. Ponton is cool. But Ponton very much identifies himself as being from Crick Hollow. And I can imagine the folks at the Lonely Mountain Band are also going to be like, well, shit, we're from Langeval. We're going to have to hold Weatherstock on a new server? Question mark? That's going to be an interesting question to see what they do about that. Let's go see if there's any other questions I'm getting on social. Nope, just people replying to my posts, but not actually saying anything. Oh, people, I don't know who that person is, but there's definitely a lot to think about. And again, I'm speculating you played on Nimrodel. Oh, Nimrodel. Now all of them live on Arkenstone. Oh, I don't want to move again. Decimated your kinship. And that's definitely a valid concern. One of the things that I will expect to happen, okay, this is me speculating, based on what they've told us, is we're going to have, when they open the new servers, they're going to say, we're going to have these servers, and you can transfer in from your other places. Like people like you play on Mordor. First time in LotRO, when new servers go free, what happens? Just nothing. Mordor stays around. I don't know. Will they make Mordor free to play? That would be an interesting prospect. I don't know if they can do that. We don't know if you'll be able to transfer. That's one of the things we'll have to wait for Cordovan and Severlin to tell us in January. I do think it's a little bit odd that they're making us wait at least 2 weeks to find out what the situation's going to be like. Because the earliest they could do a Court of the Rings would be Friday the 3rd. I think it would be better for them if they did, even though, yes, oh my god, it was getting back to 5 million piles of email. Well, I don't see them making us wait till the 10th. Maybe they might do a special stream at some other time. The timing is, yeah... Getting contradicting info, that does make it very difficult. True, especially like for those of us who like to do videos and do game press, like you know your site is. By the way, vote in the MMORPG Reader's Choice Awards. I did. So I don't. You know, I love the LotRO dev team, but I kind of think just in terms of comms, this was. I think there would never be a good time for this sort of thing. I think based on the fact that they're telling us now and giving us over the holiday to stew on this, that they do probably want to come back like immediately, just because if you think about how soon would they be able to set up a discussion about this, if they were going to give us the if they already have the launch of these new servers planned for like January, then they need to start they needed to get all this information out before then. So in terms of when they're scheduling things, I'm kind of thinking they at least give us the start of the information, give them a little bit of time, and then, you know, get their holiday out of the way. And then maybe come in on the 3rd and just give us all the details, and then things launch the following week. That's kind of what I think is they're giving us too long on the front end, but on the back end of this, once they get us the details, then it's going to launch. I mean, that seems to me to make the most sense, that they're ready to launch, but they're having to wait over the holiday, and they needed to give themselves some lead time between the announcement, the details, and then the launch. Announcement, details, launch. It does feel like a little bit of a shell game going on here, doesn't it? Where's the little pearl? I don't know. The ping pong ball? Can't find it. If there's a cord on this ring, a cord of the rings on this Friday, it's going to be... It's not going to be interesting, Goldman. It's going to be spicy. And speaking as somebody who moderates the channel, we know people are going to get salty as long as they don't get personal about it. I ain't going to say a damn word. It's like, okay. Then again, a lot of times when I think things are going to get spicy, they aren't. There have been times when I've been really wound up and expecting a fight going in there, ready to time out people left, right, and center because they're getting shitty to the devs, and nothing happened. So, fingers crossed, I'm getting myself prepared for a fight. Let's hope. I don't know. This is gonna be, again, as long as people don't get personal. It's the same way that I try to moderate the DDO Discord. Is as long as people aren't getting personal, I don't give a shit. I really don't. I don't know. I think, and even if Cord decides to cancel Cord of the Rings on Friday, you know, because guess what? It's that time of year. It's time for the holidays. He's got things to do involving, you know, whatever. If you've been following Cord's stuff, it's that time of year when he gets to be dad. He gets to be dad of the rings for a while. So therefore, he's probably gonna be focused on that. So let's be focused on that. But if he cancels the show, people will just call him a chicken. You know, can't. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Even though he probably would have a legitimate reason not to do the show. Whatever. He's an adult. He can make his own damn decisions. This isn't his first rodeo either, so I'm sure he'll be fine. So, what are you most excited for in this roadmap? I mean, there's a lot of stuff in here. Not too many details. What are you interested in? What trips your fancy? Well, I unsubscribed from a mailing list that I remember subscribing to from an old Kickstarter many years ago. Alright, I'm going to take a look at the staff tracker. Okay, no more news. Orion, go off duty. I don't want to see anything. But knowing these devs, I'm sure they're going to be reading the forums until like midnight because they're wacky like that. Jabels, welcome to our community as a brand new shiny LotRO player. Thank you. Welcome in. You guys all of it? Sounds really exciting, doesn't it? You're interested in quality of life stuff? Thank you for the follow as well. This question, in the game, we are many Spanish is, for example, more spoken than French. Well, we don't have a translation. It's so strange. The thing about having a version of the game. There are many reasons. One of the things, and we did discuss this on the official LotRO channel when you brought this question up during my show the other, is that localization is a lot of work. And I believe there's also licensing involved. I believe they would have to get a license from Middle-earth Enterprises to be allowed to localize the game in Spanish. I could be wrong about that, but this is speculation on my part. But I think part of it is that they would have to get permission to localize it in another language. It's like a publishing rights kind of deal. Deglog update because clicking through oh my god, Zelron, yes! Oh my god. Well, the tabs are not unnamed. You hover over them, they'll say their name, but you have to hover over them to say, you know. You can kind of vaguely tell, okay, these 3 are for Rohan, because they got a little horse, you know, whatever. But yeah. I hear what you're saying. I spend money on French or German, don't spend Russian, more spoken languages. I can't, bearing in mind that I don't work for Standing Stone, the numbers of folks who play the game for those languages, I could not tell you what those numbers are. I do know there was like an unofficial Russian server for a while. And I think most of the Russian folks are on the Brandywine server when the Codemasters thing shut down. But there's always a high-level decision made about that. And sometimes it has less to do with the numbers and more to do with what they can get licensed. Now, licensing anything involving Russia is a whole freaking kit and caboodle. And there's also which version of Spanish. I mean, you're in Spain. What about Latin America? I mean, what about Portuguese? There's a lot of Portuguese players. The Brazilian Lord of the Rings community is insane. They are, I think they're nuts about their football. Yeah. So, I understand the frustration of not having the game translated into your specific language. And I just don't think we have all of the details as to why that decision was made. I do know it has been requested. I've seen Portuguese being requested. I have seen Russia officially being requested. There's a lot of requests. But you and I, well, yeah, they speak Spanish, but there are some differences. Either way, Standing Stone only has X amount of space-time money to be able to localize. And the cost, I mean, if you've seen the French and German communities, they're pretty big as well. I mean, there's a reason why we're getting more European servers. You know English and Russian low level, English high level, but the English game you feel sometimes so difficult. Yeah, part of that, I'll have to admit, part of that is there's a lot of English that's older English. To be fair, Tolkien wrote in a yes, it's modern English, but a lot of the syntax and some of the choices, some of the phrases that are used are very different than what we would use today. Even, 70 some odd years later. So it's definitely a concern. But in terms of will they ever do something like that, I don't know. I do know there's one person on the team. They are responsible for the localization. They actually streamed on our Extra Life thing on the official channel under the handle of Sans Oreille. I'm sure Standing Stone has a reason for it. I don't know what the definitive reason. I can only speculate about it. But I think we have kind of gnawed the meat off this bone for now. I'm not seeing any news from Orion or Cordovan. So what we do know, again, to recap, we are going to get multiple 64-bit servers in early Q1. One or more of them will be physically located in the European Union somewhere, probably in the same place that Mordor is. Now, we do have we're a little bit questionable on transfers into those worlds, because Cordovan said initially they would focus on characters from the legacy closed servers from the previous consolidation. However, Orion kicked up a little dust on that and said something different. So we're not sure of the timing. So I think the timing they probably have the timing settled, but they just haven't told us what it is. We will find out when they do their little sit down between Cordovan and Siverlin. That one's going to be a bit wild, I imagine. So, anyhow, I think Does anybody have any last questions about the producer letter? Or anything else we want to chit-chat about real quick before we get on? Scruffy-looking Nerf herder believes that it feels like it's a bit of a roadmap for DDO's future. Kinda. To be fair, Orion did actually work on DDO. He worked on some of my favorite quests in DDO. Back down the day. Anyhow, I think that's enough speculation for now. There's not much else that we can get out of this, other than what we do know for sure. So we got a couple of weeks at least. Gotta go through it. But I was curious if we talked about servers merging. Was I missing something? Okay. So Jabels, there aren't any closed servers happening. What we're talking about is in the producer letter that just came out. Let me drop the link in chat again for you. It's the one that's up here. Let me drop that here. What they're doing is they're in the midst of a 64-bit server setup. Because right now, all the legacy worlds that you can log into without a subscription are the free-to-play servers are all 32-bit servers. And those are ancient. 32-bit server architecture is preventing them from moving forward with the game in many ways. So what they've been doing is they launched 2 64-bit worlds, but they made them for VIP, so you had to pay a subscription to be able to play them. Kind of helps the finances on those, right? And what they're going to do is let people transfer into those worlds or start fresh on those worlds. So no old world is getting closed down. Nobody's going anywhere. If you want to keep playing on your current world, you're fine. The main thing is what's going to happen with these new worlds. Where are they? How many are they going to be? What is the overall plan? And we'll find out here in at least a couple weeks, 3 weeks, whenever Sev and Cord sit down and have a little chit-chat. I imagine that Friday's Court of the Rings is going to be lively. And we'll have to see what happens. I do know it is very possible for Cordovan to keep his trap shut when he wants to. So I don't expect him to give out any details. I also kind of expect him to cancel the show and say hell with it and just go about his business because he's got a holiday to plan. You know, he's got stuff to do. He's got to be Dad of the Rings. But I don't know when all that's happening. You know, I haven't talked to him recently. But that's his usual tradition, is he does holiday with his kiddo, as one should. Yeah. Definitely read that. There isn't, again, a huge amount of details, so we've gone over everything, and I can't really think of anything else that we can discuss about this. Again, everything here is pretty solidified out here. We'll figure it out. A free update, a system enhancement. System enhancements? Sounds like they're fixing or updating some game systems. I don't know. The Kinship revamp would have been a system enhancement. And one thing I would like to point out is if you make this page really big, at the bottom it says updated December 2024, subject to change. So always let Standing Stone be aware that they're not promising hardly anything. I would say they're committing to doing all this stuff, but these things are pretty solidified. These things, not so much. We'll find out more later next year. So yeah, yep. More content for Legacy of Morgoth coming in quarter 2, but let's focus on quarter 1. That's going to be the big one. I really want to see what the D-Log's all about. And the quality of life updates. I love quality of life updates. We don't know. And I don't know about the birding. I should play the birding. That'll be fun. Anyhow, I'd like to thank y'all for watching. Let me make sure. Oh, somebody was asking questions. Oh. Galbus with the bad puns. Okay, for those who are asking about DDO, the game worlds have just reopened a few minutes ago, so I'm gonna go play some video games now. I'm probably going to... well, I could play some DDO, or I could play some LotRO, play some World of Warcraft. Kind of actually want to play the new World of Warcraft stuff, because my D&D DM has already gotten the new blue bird from the new expansion for the new update to WoW, and I kind of want it, and I'm mad at him because he already got it. Like, it's only been open one day, Owl, for my god! But I love my DM. He's a voice actor. He goes by the name of Archivist Owl, and he's from Greece. So anytime I look at the D&D manual and I don't understand, I say, well, it looks all Greek to me. I'm that asshole, yeah. Anyhow, thanks for watching. This is going to go up on YouTube pretty soon, as soon as it gets done processing. And I'm probably not going to do an actual proper stream tonight because Professor Corey is teaching at 10 and I still need to make supper. So, let's go. Thanks for watching, and you can toss me a follow if you haven't already. Most of you have. And for those 2 of you who did during the stream, thank you very much. I have a rotating schedule this week because I'm on vacation. I will be on the LotRO stream channel after... Oh my god, I'm gonna... Oh my god. I just realized... If Cordovan does Court of the Rings on Friday and Corey is out this week, I'm gonna be taking... Oh my god! Oh my god, it's gonna be so lit! Because normally what happens is when Professor Corey Olson does not do his LotRO stream, I take over his time slot. Because I'm normally on after him. So it's like, well, I have an hour, a couple hour break between Cordovan and another stream. I'll just start up. Oh well, I'll deal with it. Anyway, thanks for watching. You know the drill. Be good. And if you can't be good, then be good at it. Alright? I'll talk to you later.